I'm going to be covering the chemicals acrylamide and styrene. We'll begin by looking through and discussing their properties, sources, uses, and toxicology. Then afterwards, I'll make a recommendation as to which chemical I think is more important to regulate. Acrylamide is a colorless, odorless, crystalline solid that can react violently when melted. The pictograms associated with it are acute toxic and health hazard. The general health and safety hazard statements associated with acrylamide are toxic if swallowed, harmful contact with skin, skin irritation warning, eye irritation warning, harmful if inhaled, and may cause genetic defects and may cause cancer. Where is this chemical typically found? It's a substance that is formed naturally from sugars and an amino acid found in plant-based foods like potatoes. And during high temperature cooking, the starches in the food and this amino acid react with one another and form acrylamide. So in the photo here, you see the toast getting more burnt and there's more acrylamide accumulation. People can also be exposed to significantly more acrylamide through tobacco smoke, with smokers having 3 to 5 times more acrylamide exposure markers in the blood than non-smokers. And industrially, you can find acrylamide being used to form polyacrylamide and acrylamide copolymers, which are then used for production of paper, dyes, plastics, and it is also used in water treatment due to its ability to trap suspended solids. I couldn't find any past big historical issues with it, but I found this in the news recently, which is interesting. There's a request made by the Council for Education and Research on Toxics to require cancer warning labels on foods containing acrylamide. However, the issue was declined due to claims that there's too much uncertainty and conflicting scientific sources if it really does cause cancer in humans. Routes of entry: ingestion, inhalation, dermal. Is known to have a variety of toxic effects in rodents, such as neurotoxicity, heritable genetic effects, and cancer. But it's important to keep in mind that the studies that are in vitro animal studies administer doses that are 1,000 times higher than typically intaken. In human samples, is linked to issues with the nervous system and reproductive system, and we can see peripheral neuropathy was one of the symptoms of that. And the biochemical nature, acrylamide follows 2 routes of metabolism. It can either form glycinamide, which is a mutagenic product due to its ability to bind with DNA and form these DNA abducts, which can lead to cancer or cell death, and can also follow this detoxification route where it forms an isogamma and it can be eliminated through the urine. Styrene, oh, 1 sec. It's going backwards here. Styrene is a colorless, flammable liquid with a sweet odor and is highly volatile. It's flammable, irritant, and health hazard pictograms, and the general health and safety standards with it are flammable liquid and vapors, skin and eye irritation warning, harmful if inhaled, suspected reproductive toxicity, specific organ toxicity through prolonged or repeated exposure. Can be found naturally in low levels in a variety of foods such as fruits, vegetables, nuts, beverages, and meats. Larger amounts of styrene, though, are found in a variety of different rubbers, plastics, as well as tobacco smoke. People that are at the greatest risk for exposure are those that work in the reinforced plastics industry or rubber manufacturing. You can find styrene in a variety of consumer products such as packaging materials, insulation, and drinking cups, carpet backing, automobile parts, a lot of things. Same thing, there wasn't much in the news about historical issues, but recently there was a recycling plant that caught fire in eastern Indiana, and the main concern was there's a bunch of plastics burning up there, so they were looking for benzene and styrene in the air since it can It's in the air for about 1 to 2 days before it's broken down, but EPA didn't really find anything yet, but they're still looking just to make sure. Route of entry, inhalation, ingestion, dermal. Targets eyes, skin, respiratory system, central nervous system, liver, reproductive system. Its biochemical nature, it actually forms multiple metabolites, and they're still unsure, but they found that some were cytotoxic while others were genotoxic, and the rest were kind of eliminated through the urine. In review, we can see that acrylamide and styrene share a lot of similar routes of exposures and targets. When it comes to choosing which chemical is potentially more harmful, it's a close call as they are both still being researched when it comes to what effect the metabolites produced have on the body. A lot of studies in vitro and in mice have seen that these chemicals both can be considered carcinogens when the dose is high enough. Epidemiological surveys over a period of time has also shown there's a link to some form of cancer for workers who routinely work with them in their industry. I'm going to have to go with acrylamide though, since it seems to have potential to lead to more exposures down the line with its presence in baked, fried, and roasted food, and its role in water treatment. I'm concerned the majority of the population have no idea what acrylamide is and what it can lead to. By properly labeling food items with high acrylamide content in grocery stores and/or setting a limit to how much acrylamide can be found in companies' products like fast food or even in the grocery store, we can lessen the overall impact for public exposure, since some people's only food source is that of fast food if you live in like a food desert or can't afford much. And here are my sources. Dun, dun, dun.